So if you see anybody saying that, you know they're liars and bad faith weirdos. So here's what I'll say about Israel. Okay, listen. This isn't the first time I've said it, and I'll say it and many more times. The cabinet is run by genocidal maniacs. Okay, they're led by Netanyahu, who should resign in disgrace and go to prison for being a war criminal. Okay. He's made a coalition of the most radically conservative freaks that don't represent, by the way, the majority of Israelis. And they're hellbent on genocide, frankly, overtly. They've committed tons of war crimes in Gaza, including the killing of children, obviously, because Gaza is one of the most densely populated places in the world. 50% of the residents are under 18. So when you bomb a building, the chances that you're killing children is pretty much 100%. Okay? It's fucking barbaric. It's unacceptable. It's disgusting. I've seen videos, I saw videos of Palestinian dads holding his dead 5-year-old daughter. I mean,
yeah.
And then there was another one that
it shouldn't happen on either side. There shouldn't be death, it's really fucked up.
As a father, it's even hard to talk about. This dude was holding his infant. It was a year old.
Yeah. It's tough, man. I'm sorry, Ethan. I'm sorry all this stuff's happening.
And he was patting her on the back and saying his final goodbye. I mean, he's holding her like she's alive, like he's just burping her or something.
It's okay, bro. You don't gotta.
I didn't expect to get emotional about that, but I'm a new dad and that shit really fucks me up.
Yeah.
And I hate to see it. It's not right. I think people in Israel that support the government and the government need to watch that shit. I think Israel shutting off water, power, and food to Gaza is insane. It doesn't even make sense. What's the end goal there exactly?
I wanna cut in here for a second, and while you recollect your thoughts and say something. The feeling that internally, the opinion of the Israeli population currently doesn't matter. The Western opinion.
I think the Israeli opinion on the massacre is pretty unified, dude.
Well, what they say about that is that they don't. Everybody's already.
Hold on one sec, Hila. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
They're saying everybody is already in such grief and broken that they don't need to show this terrible footage. But
I mean,
they're saying it's important for the world to see what happened, so that's why.
Yeah, they're doing propaganda. It's not surprising, is it?
Yeah. No, it's not. But I'm just saying that, I think that
it did happen.
I think that there is more.
They're not putting the bodies there and putting them in fucked up ways.
Of course not.
I'm just saying,
That's not what I'm saying at all.
It's not that cynical to send in the press.
I think that
it's not cynical at all. In that case,
I think that the coverage from certain Israeli outlets on the matter is more critical on the Netanyahu administration, and showing that, I think, and the interviews that I've seen as well. Of the parents fucking demanding, basically kicking out Israeli Knesset members that are visiting the hospitals, yelling at them, telling them to fuck off, telling them that this is their fault. I think that there's two different reasons for obviously that level of anger. Some of which say you did this to us by being more brutal, and that this violence, of course, is going to be a constant, and it's going to be a violent retaliation. And then there's also the people that are saying you are not violent enough, right? But ultimately, everyone is critical of the Israeli government at this point from different angles, and I think that's the reason why they care more about the Western media's opinion than anything else, because they don't want to repeat the mistakes that happened last time in both 2018 and also the Shireen Abu Akleh murder. Again, in the hands of an Israeli sniper that the Israeli government said was actually Palestinians, and Western media immediately disproved that. And then what did the IDF do? What did the IDF do?
I don't know.
When a wonderful voice for good, a Christian woman, a Christian Palestinian, and an American citizen, Shireen Abu Akleh, was murdered as she was on her way to one of these refugee camps. She had a press vest on. She had a press helmet on. She was shot in the neck so that she could be assassinated. Okay? This was a major issue. They wanted to do. Sorry, this is really fucked up. They went to her funeral and beat the shit out of people and ripped the Palestinian flag off of her. Palestinians can't have a moment of peace in this fucking world. They can't even mourn the dead. Sorry. The IDF went in and beat the shit out of the Palestinians that were mourning her at her funeral, that were holding her casket, and ripped the Palestinian flag off of her casket. How is that allowed? How can that continue?
Fucked up.
How do you not see that? That's in the West Bank. This is a Christian woman. This is not a Muslim. This is not Hamas. This is a journalist that was beloved in the Muslim world. And she was assassinated for speaking out and trying to shine a light on the atrocities. It's hard to look, it's very hard to hold my composure on this. This is something I've talked about for years and years. But when that kind of ruthlessness, sound like fucking Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, that kind of ruthlessness and racism and like just hatred breeds. It breeds hatred. Hatred breeds hatred. That breeds hatred right there.
Israeli police have attacked mourners and pallbearers at the funeral of the Palestinian-American journalist Shireen Abu Akleh in Jerusalem. The Al Jazeera reporter was shot in the head while covering a raid by Israeli forces in the occupied West Bank on Wednesday. Earlier today, an Israeli officer was shot dead and several Palestinians injured during an army raid to make arrests near Jenin in the West Bank. It follows several weeks of mounting violence with dozens killed on both sides. Our Middle East correspondent Tom Bateman reports.
Shireen Abu Akleh was one of the best-known voices to Palestinians. Now in death, a national symbol. But grief for a revered reporter was to turn to fear and panic for the mourners. Israel's security forces had entered the hospital gates
These fucking pigs, bro.
as Palestinians tried to walk the coffin out. The police fired stun grenades and pushed the crowd back. Many rushed for cover inside.
We've had complete chaos with people trying to get inside. I saw a woman with a very young baby, a patient or somebody who was here just at the hospital, caught in the middle of a huge crowd trying to get inside.
And even the pallbearers had to retreat as police kicked and beat them with batons.
The casket, that is so
And the
fucked
coffin
up.
slips to the ground.
That is so fucked
The force
up.
says it acted to stop what it called incitement and stone throwing.
The IDF doesn't give a fuck about human life.
Shireen
They
Abu
don't give a
Akleh
fuck
was
about
shot in
human
the
life.
head covering an arrest raid by Israel's army. Reporters on the scene say the gunfire came from the soldiers, but Israel maintains Palestinian gunmen may have fired the fatal shot.